I'm gonna try and make this quick before everybody comes waltzing in, as I don't have my headphones, so yeah, about that. But anyway, gonna waste no time, just gonna get into the nitty gritty real quick. And in about another hour or so, I'm gonna be on a Zoom call with a few of my friends, and we're gonna talk about the idea of the devil made me do it. How, hey Ethan, and actually talk about how it's how sometimes Hollywood, hey Caleb, sometimes how Hollywood thinks that, well, by stereotype, we're gonna make a film, kind of talking about a divine or an entity being the cause or alluding to something that happened in the past. Oh, good. And how we're gonna just blow it out of proportion, just like how the Exorcist of Emily Rose, the left-hand divine that was mentioned, is like, I did what now? Still, nonetheless, all that's later on. So, this is going to be starting with Scorpio first, and there goes the first card. Wow, isn't that just odd? First card, Scorpio, of all the cards, the Death card, which is actually the card associated with your sign, one of them. Well, anyway, current position, Death, and something kicking the bucket. Well, this depiction, we have a masquerade man who looks like one of the three musketeers, and there are two ravens on this, which naturally show that potentially either Hel or Odin may have something to do with this, and he's holding the white flower with a glove. So in this, something that possibly you could have ended something when you had two other people watch out for it. Or essentially, there could be a situation where you have found out about something and you have two people actually assisting you with ending this. And in your hand, you're reclaiming your innocence again. You're taking something that has to be like, you know what, I'm done with this. but what I'm really getting is heavy assistance from two people that are actually going to be helping you gather intel on how to actually strike down this thing that's affecting you, and you're going to reclaim your sense of purity from it. So what's going to kick the bucket then? What is the main thing that's kicking the bucket? The main thing that's kicking the bucket in this depiction, with it being the sun, I'm going about it in a way different way. What? Oh. Well, if you go pick up those bottles, if you're going to be picking up those glass bottles, try and hold on to them, because they have history to them, just for that reason. But anyway, now this being the sun, now you're probably thinking my happiness is gonna die, but look at it this way. What's ending is somebody thinking that they're high and mighty. Somebody thinks that I'm just gonna go with it how I was gonna go with. Somebody who is egotistical and thinking that they're crap, their ego side is gonna kick the bucket. You're gonna be probably reality checking a narcissist. Or somebody who thinks somebody who's way egotistical and thinks that they're fancy and all, woo, look at me, notice me, please. Yeah, you're going to have assistance ending that, or causing a situation where they possibly were outshining your sense of innocence. Yeah, that's going to go and kick the bucket. And you're going to reclaim your innocence, and from there, you're going to go forward with the Three of Pentacles. This depiction, we have a man doing draft work and also fine-tuning one of the pentacles. So somebody's ego is going to kick the bucket. Oh, I like how this just popped in my head. So somebody who was way too egotistical, or thinking, oh, I'm fancy, I'm the king, I know what I'm doing. No, it's all about me. Well, here comes Scorpio like, oh, look at you. You think you fancy, huh? You're going to end their egotistical part and their egotistical woozy-woo. And now you're going to give them a lesson in humility and, being content with the self. And understanding that, hey, you ain't nothing, kid. Get off your tush and do what you're supposed to do. So if somebody is being narcissical, this is actually probably for the rest of the month and starting into August. This might be a good time to, hit someone upside the head with like, oh, you're just a human like everybody else. You have to work like everyone else. You have to put in effort like everybody else. You're stupid like everybody else. You're dumb like everybody else. You're just like anybody else, except the only thing that's different is your name and your body. That's it. You ain't fancy, kid. Now get off your tush and do what you're supposed to do. Get to work. Like you actually might be taking a narcissist and reality checking them so hard that they are forced to actually do their obligations and responsibilities and be humble about it. Might be in a way that's not nice. So how should you go about this? You should go about this in a way that actually shows your emotional maturity. And this could also even represent you acting as in a state that's in check of yourself and mastering your emotions. But because since I see two sharks on here and then a manta ray, but primarily the two sharks, definitely, I'm also one of them. But because I see two sharks in here and also a marlin and a manta ray, most definitely I'm getting the big idea of like, if needed, unleash the shark and chase for blood. And take swinging if you have to, metaphorically. Don't back down. Make sure that you push and continue to push that no. How I feel is valid. The way you're treating me, you're a twathead, and you need to stop doing that. Because it's unacceptable to be treated like that. I'm not going to be treated like this no more. I'm not going to go through my PTSD symptoms. You're not going to be abusing me no more. And if you think you can get away with it now, nope. Sorry, I'm taking my weave off, and you're going to be losing your head. And how they're going to be responding to this course of action. What are they going to react to on the physical level, and what are they going to be thinking, and what is their next move? Response on the physical. Response on the physical might get a little bit sassy and feisty, but the thing is, this queen is water and air. The Queen of Swords is actually not in her element, because the Queen's water and air is actually the opposing element of water. But in this depiction, there's a peacock there. Most definitely, they might try and make themselves be like, ooh, I'm so scary. Ooh, I'm going to intimidate you with an illusion. That's what they're going to do on the physical level. They're going to make themselves look like they're, intimidating and terrifying and mortifying. But they're really not. It's just an illusion. Mentally, they're going to think in response to that of like you acting away, taking control of yourself. Mentally, they're going to think, oh no, I'm losing my grip. Oh man, I'm losing my grip. Oh, woe is you, dimwit. They're going to be emotionally and mentally hurt bad. Because they're just like, oh, like look at how her hand's depicted. And like how she's dropping the cup. She's just like, how could they say that to me? The horror. How could they say that to me? I'm emotionally upset. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe you should not have been a twathead. So you're really, because there's the King of Cups with his one cup over here, taking that cup, being pure emotion, and using it to rejuvenate yourself. In fact, probably, most likely, one of the cups in the background, in the sunlight, that could actually be a representation of you and somebody else involved that's being abused or mistreated. That could possibly be under the wrath of, their narcissism. But for whatever reason, something must have hit that narcissistical twat so hard, it's going to hit them so hard that only the one cup that's not completely fallen over is the one that's your cup. You're going to take that back. And then the other two, they're going to be all, oh no, I dropped one. Oh no, and I'm dropping the other. Oh, my feelings. That's what they're going to be starting to think mentally. But their next course of action is going to be afterwards. Well, not prior, but what's going to be after this, hit upside the face. Is they're going to feel like rather left in a position where they're not really being considered, and they're going to try and reach out for help. You know what to say about that? Nope. I'm sorry, will you be willing to help? Nope. Get off your tush and do what you're supposed to do. I don't care how you feel. You've been acting like a dimwit for so long. In fact, the figure in this card looks like he's a bum, the way he's dressed. So, neglecting obligation and responsibility is what you're going to push them to do, and they're going to try so hard to try and reach out and get some sort of feeling of security from you. Don't give it to them. They know what they're doing. They don't need to have that. And what you should do afterwards, let them know that you have a lion at the ready. I'm almost finished. So let them know and make it known to them that you have a lion at the ready to just pounce on them. But you're holding it back because you're giving them one final chance before having a lion sicked on their face. Don't let them get away with BS because you have a lion at the ready. So just let loose. What is something you're not aware of that they're doing? They potentially may be trying to actually try and predict and use something of the other side to try and see what you're doing at all times and trying to, I'm going to put it this way, they're trying to eavesdrop on you so that way they can figure out what to do to mess with you. They're actually doing something related to that just to be able to get an upper hand on you. And they also may be trying to act like, oh, I'm innocent. Your best asset? Oh, how funny. That's funny. Your best asset is actually the moon, which is actually the card that actually says trust and see without your eyes. But the funny thing is, the High Priestess relies on the moon. So in order for the High Priestess to even do anything, she needs the moon. But in this case, if you're dealing with a narcissist and they're trying to actually see without their eyes and using their intuitive gifts, joke's on them, they need you to even do it. So in a way, you actually have control whenever they divinate. So you can actually control them if they're trying to figure out a way to mess with you. You can use that to your advantage. Use it. Use their divination and they're trying to figure out, okay, this is what they're going to do. Use that to control them. Misdirect them. Deceive them. Point them in a different direction. Make them believe you're going to go one way, then out of nowhere just go, psych. True story. And in a way, because since the moon is emotions and controlling how water is behaving, and the High Priestess, again, has to rely on the moon in order to control something and get her divination, you can actually use your emotions to completely manipulate or control the priestess, or the narcissist is using it to manipulate you. Use this to your advantage. Even if you blind them, metaphorically. Blind them to not be able to see what they're doing and lead them in a completely different direction and then just pounce on them. And just remind them how stupid they look. That's really what I'm getting. You're at a huge advantage for having them rely on you in order to see what you're doing. Use that to your advantage. Misdirect them. Deceive them. Outplay them. Because other than that, I mean, if you're dealing with somebody that is not acting in the most dignified way, sucks to be them this month. And then for a little bit of August, and I'm going to scooch over to Sagittarius. So Sagittarius. Let's see what we get here for Sagittarius. I'm just going to go with what comes out, just like before. Okay, I don't know why I'm being told. Okay, go ahead and do the triangle spread, which is a love spread. Okay, if you insist, I'll listen. I don't even have any of my crystals with me. All I have is my 2 rings. So I don't know what's telling me to do it, but okay, fine. Do you want fries with that? Because if so, if you want fries with that, I hope you like them curly. I don't make them straight ones. Okay, doke, let's see here. Current positioning, your current standing for you, Sag. We have you in the position of the 7 of Cups. You might be standing in a position where somebody's trying to woozy-woo you, or you're in a completely different space than everybody else. You might be in a position where you're being blinded by a fantasy land. You might be high in the clouds. You might be in a state where you're thinking everything is glee and pretty. You're actually, I don't know why this popped in my head, but I'm going to go with it. You're actually maybe thinking about going on your rainbow side a little bit, if you catch my drift. Or, you might be, what is that meme called? Like that meme with SpongeBob when it's like, everything's okay. Or like it's some kind of satiric thing. Like you might be in a position where you might be trying to deceive and putting yourself out, saying like, oh, everything's okay, everything's just fine. Magical. But there's this theme of a lot of woozy-wooing and fantasy thing going on and not being on reality. Might be very, how do I best put it? It's like you're allowing your imagination to kind of be at the forefront and being at the possibility. Not that it's bad, very creative, but might not be having the best grip of reality. Other person. That's funny. 3 of Wands. This is the picture. We have a man looking out to a lake and the sun's going down, but for some reason the ship's in the sky. So we can put 2 and 2 together, and obviously this is what we get. We have one person in the clouds, and then we have another person looking at the person in the clouds like, the heck you doing? Honey bear, you drunk? Hey, Kim. Why in the heck are you in the clouds? You're not supposed to be doing that. You're supposed to be on the water. Honey, what are you doing? Cupcake. Ships go in the water, not in the sky. This isn't like Final Fantasy. What are you doing? Get out of the clouds. So possibly somebody can be kind of like concerned about you being too woozy fantasy land. And they're trying to like sit back and watch as you're going high in the sky. And all you want to do is just be like, can we just get back to Earth, please? And even the figure is not even making any kind of gesture. He's just observing the flying ship in the sky instead of being on the water. Just like, what are you doing, dude? Are you okay? You kind of look like you're lost in the wrong element. Pretty much all you can do is figure. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's absolutely nothing wrong with experiencing the fantasy woozy-woo and being creative, but sometimes make sure it's not at a point where somebody's like, are you okay, dude? It looks like you're in the sky instead of in the water. You're too much in your head and not really using your intuitive side. And as you both as a unit, between you two at least, is actually funny enough, the lovers. What's even funnier is that it's like both cards just merged with one another. You have the Three of Wands having a man figure, and then over here, you have the clouds, and then you have the same coloring of the Three of Wands, the same orange. And funny enough, if you look up here at the top left, you see the moon half full from bottom to top. You look over here, you see, again, the same thing at the top of the card. And now you have the man figure and the woman figure joined together, and then two random birds, getting their necks tied together. Trying to distract the two. But this depiction, you have the man figure looking down at the woman figure, and the woman figure looking up, which is, I don't like that symbol. So, at least between you two, you try to actually negotiate, and you do understand the give and take. But for some reason, there's like an elephant in the room that is not being addressed. It has to be addressed, and it's getting louder and louder to the point where you kind of can't ignore it. So then why are they the seven? Why is the Alchemist the Seven of Cups then? What's making them get all woozy-woozy? Got the Three of Swords. So possibly the reason why you're in woozy-woo land, maybe it could be that possibly, so this depiction of the Three of Swords, even though it looks like the sword's going through the heart, it's not. It's going through smoke. So really, the cause of trying to be in fantasy land is because of an illusion that your heart's being hurt when it's not. Your mind is messing with you, and it's pushing you to not be realistic about your emotions. And even though that's kind of counterintuitive, you might be overthinking something that's causing you to believe that you're in a state of depression. Something's blinding you and is putting you in a depressed state regarding your emotions. That could possibly be, or it could be vice versa reversed. With the Three of Wands, now we have the moon. So the other person in question, they're aware that you're not in solid ground or in your right element, and they are actually using some form of sixth sense or something that requires you to see without your eyes in order to try and understand what the heck are you doing. They're relying on their psychic senses in order to see what's going on and to better understand you. And if there's pets involved, like if you have a dog or so, they're relying on the family dog in order to give them that space to hold, in order to try and figure out what's going on here, because they may be emotional too of seeing you in this state. So then, why the lovers? And for the lovers, we have strength. As a unit, you both understand the value of having to stick with it and to not let get my finger into this card. You both understand the value of commitment and holding on to it. And you both understand that you can let the lion out and rip everybody to shreds when you get into a hissy fit about something not working. You both understand that, and you both see that in one another. So that's actually probably the saving grace between you two. But you have to understand that the mind can completely eradicate your emotions and feelings. Hey, Ale. So understand you have to be able to not let the lion come out and hunt for blood, but try and hold that back and try and use the intuitive side, because that's the woman in the card. Use that intuition to try and connect to the other person and try and come to an agreement and get rid of this elephant in the room with the two the two pigeons getting their necks tied in a knot and making a scene, and better said, making a scene and ruining the moment is like, I thought you got rid of those birds. I did. Well, not good enough, dude. So make sure if there's something that has to be addressed that is taken care of and it's out of the way. Because other than that, I mean, the commitment is strong though. Suggested courses of action, give me 3. 3 potential choices. Choice 1, actually reconnect on all levels, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Because you have actually physical. Physical is the red one. Mental is the blue one. And spiritual or emotional is the white one. Connect on all levels. And nourish and restore to its better, highest state on all levels. Have that reconnection again on all levels. That's option 1. Number 2, become more grounded and nurturing to yourself. Get yourself more grounded and practical, and get yourself out of the state of being woozy-wooed by your mind that causes you heartbreak. And then option number 3, and actually this kind of goes for all of them. Option number 3, well, the Sun card. Know that happiness, true happiness, is always there. You just really got to look for it. If you really look for it, you'll see it in the smallest of ways, but the sunlight will always come through somehow if you really look for it. Just like seeing the good in any situation, you have to look for it. The harder you look, the more likely you'll find it. You really just got to look. Pay attention. Take a few deep breaths and know, I will find it. I'm going to find it, and I don't care what anybody says. It's in there somehow, I know it. One more thing to be aware of. Page of Swords. Don't be using childish communication, and don't be speaking with BS words. Don't speak like that. Because if you speak immaturely and rationally, you might cut someone and harm someone. Don't do that. Instead, well, look at that. We actually have one of your cards. Speak with wisdom and allow something higher than you to progress things forward naturally. And with the moon being on the top, is actually, you need to also have the other person involved be a part of what makes the wheel spin. And also underneath, there's the lion again. And then, funny enough, you see a rabbit on that card. If you notice, there's another bunny right there. So probably the best thing to do is start nurturing and taking care of yourself, get yourself back and grounded again, and then understand your value of commitment as being your main focus on the 3D level. Bring those together, and then that's how everything will start to move all together. And also trust your others' intuitive side and what they say. Like if their feelings and all that, like a gut feeling, trust it. Just make sure you don't speak with immature communication. Anyway, I have to get ready for that call, so I'll be back later. Oh, this was a Scorpio and Sagittarius, and then I'll just see you guys later.